There might be some instances which will make teenage life look like the worst times of our lives. This will happen when heavy thoughts begin to creep into our minds and happy childhood phase begins to abandon us. This might sound universal, as there is a good portion of kids that suffer more than others. Pop culture shows that at least one teenager in a group can be a brooding one, and people generally assume them to be reserved and sad. The truth is that 1 out of 5 teens suffer from depression. Depression is curable thanks to the 24/7 helplines which offer support. Many teens do not utilize such help because they do not even know they suffer from it. So it is our responsibility as parents to seek treatment for them when they experience unbearable agony. But how do we know if your teen is really suffering from adolescent depression? How do you tell the difference between regular mood swings and depression? And when you notice a sprouting problem, how can you intervene and relieve the ailing teenager from his or her misery? Here's how. The main difference between teenage angst and the adolescent depression is that former is ephemeral and later is prolonging. While angst spoils the kid's mood for a week, depression plagues the entire teenhood and might even stretch way into their adult life. Depression can affect the kid's day-to-day life, such as being unable to concentrate in class, doing homework, or mingle with other children. Without help, this will build up into perpetual despair and anger, leading them to hurt themselves or others. Depressed teens do not always be quiet and cry. Some of them oust their dissatisfaction with themselves in destructive ways, like being rebellious, bullying, or vandalizing. We cannot just think of them as acting out. The problem might pervade way deeper, and if timely guidance is not presented, the child's future will be desolate. Some signs to look for. School problems. Many parents get surprised when the principal calls their home to inform them that their teen is absent in most classes. Instead of confronting the teenager with an angry outburst, the parents should try to level with their child and talk to him about it. You may be surprised to learn that the child is missing classes not because they are just hanging out with friends, but because he or she is unable to concentrate and their grades are dropping. Or they may suffer low self-esteem and couldn't socialize with other teenagers seamlessly. Inability to concentrate for a more extended period and low self-esteem are signs of depression, and taking the teen to a counselor is a good option now. Addiction to devices. And in this era of smartphones, tablets, and laptops, we all carry an escape with us. If your teen overindulges on his or her smartphone or gaming console and blatantly refuses to participate in any human interaction, you should be worried. Chemical dependency. One thing that can make a parent completely break down is when they find out their teen is smoking, or worse. But again, wrathful confrontation is not going to solve the problem. In fact, it might worsen it. Try to understand why a teenager is smoking or depending on some other chemicals. Most would have just wanted to try but not be unable to shed the habit. But a few would have grown to love it because it soothes their restless minds. The depressed teenager uses cigarettes and alcohol to make their pain bearable. Extremely wild. Not all teenagers who suffer from adolescent depression suffer alone. Some laugh and play, but in the night cry alone, not having an inkling of why they even feel the mental pain or wanting to cry. These extroverted teenagers cannot tackle their problems with mere computers or video games. They would most likely bully other children, cause damage to properties, or do drugs, all of which would seem like the qualities of a budding criminal. Running away. Escape is literal sense this time, is the final tool in their arsenal to battle depression. A depressed teenager can't take it anymore and would want just to run away and disappear. In such cases, after recovering the lost teenager, immediately seek the help of mental health professionals. Apart from the aforementioned signs, if your child is eating a lot or not eating properly, pay attention to their countenance. Another sign is the inability to sleep. If you spot your teenager listening to music or playing video games late into the night, you may want to start thinking that there could be a problem. Lack of enthusiasm and motivation, fatigue, hostility, agitation, and unreasonable sadness could be other signs of depression. Here's how you can help. 1. Communication. The depressed teenager already has a lot in his or her mind to deal with, so refrain from lecturing and be a good listener. Don't invalidate. From an adult's perspective, the teenage problems would seem insignificant, but not for them. Do not judge or condescend, but rather provide solutions. Professional. When all else fails, and if your teenager is not able to do it on his or her own, or even with your intervention, take them to a professional counselor. Don't fret if your teenager is suffering from adolescent depression. We all suffer depression at some point in life and learn to manage it later. Provide a comfortable home, empathetic conversations, and a shoulder for your teen. If you have tried your best and still fail to alleviate the pain, there are always professionals who could help the teens.